You knew, though, we're not talking about that, you knew that Jason Eade in your office was passing information to Cameron Slater to damage national opponents, didn't you? You knew that.
No, what I did know was that he did speak to Whale Oil, and he spoke to quite a number of other bloggers in the same way that we speak to media outlets, but it's also true that on the left of politics, they all speak to attack bloggers.
You are deeply implicated in this to the extent that you yourself have been involved in direct exchanges of information and conversations with Cameron Slater, and in February you said you spoke regularly to him and that he was the source of the information that your opponents had visited the .com mansion.
No, I didn't exactly say that.
Well, was he?
That's
was he your source for that story?
Well, that's not really relevant.
Was he your source for that story?
Well, I'm not going to go into that particular thing because that's not actually really relevant. But what is
Well, it is relevant because it goes right to the heart of this matter, which was that information was being laundered through Cameron Slater, but with your direct involvement.
No, that's not right. What is correct...
Well, can you answer this question for the public of New Zealand? Was Cameron Slater your source for the fact that your opponents visited the .com mansion, yes or no?
Well, I can't go into who passes me information any more than radio.
Yes, you can, because you know that.
Well, of course I know who told me the information.
Was it Cameron Slater?
Well, does it matter?
Well, yes, it does, because
Why?
Cameron Slater has been involved in a whole range of these stories which have sought to damage public officials and political opponents.
So what do we know about Cameron Slater? He deals with a huge number of people. The email on
including
Saturday,
you.
Well, the email on Saturday showed that he was working with a media outlet.
We're not talking about media outlets. You do not have responsibility for media outlets.
No, and I don't
You have responsibility for yourself and your staff. And both of those people, yourself and your staff, have been engaging with Cameron Slater to damage your opponents. You cannot deny that.
Well, I can in terms of my own situation. I'm certainly happy to say, as I have in the past, that from time to time I've spoken to him about primarily one particular instance.
And it was the .com issue, wasn't it?
Well, it may be, but that wouldn't really matter.
Well, wouldn't it?
No, because at the end of the day, if he happened to have some information about that, then I might be interested for my own particular reasons. There's nothing wrong with that.
Doesn't this come down to judgment? It all comes down to judgment. After 3 years of watching and knowing intimately Judith Collins' style, you appointed her as Justice Minister, right at the heart of the integrity of the government. Wasn't that a massive failure of judgment on your part?
No, and if you go and have a look at the particular instance involved, she utterly disputes that. I haven't seen any evidence at the moment that supports that her position is
Do you trust
correct.
her still?
I do.